Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about habits.
Ooh, habits.
Yeah, those things that can totally make or break us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're diving deep into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Classic.
Yeah, it's like boot book on habits, right?
For sure it is.
And we're using this awesome YouTube summary by Escaping Ordinary to guide us, like a roadmap to awesome habits.
I love those guys. Their videos are so clear and concise.
Yeah, exactly. So like they say in the video, it's all about those tiny changes, the 1% gains.
Oh yeah, the 1% gains, that's where the magic happens.
Right. They really hit home with that airplane analogy. Right?
Oh, yeah. The one about, like, if a plane...
It's just a tiny 3-degree course correction.
Yeah.
And you end up in Tijuana instead of LA.
Crazy. Right.
It just shows, small tweaks can have huge consequences.
Absolutely. And it's not just about our goals.
Right.
It's about, like, everything,
Yeah.
Our health, our relationships, even, like, our finances.
It's like a ripple effect.
Exactly. Like, imagine being just a little bit kinder every day.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The impact that could have.
It's pretty powerful stuff. But so we've been talking about like the small stuff.
Yeah.
But what about goals? The big things we want to achieve.
That's where Clear's whole thing about systems comes in.
Systems. Okay. Now I'm intrigued. What's the difference between like a goal and a system?
It's like this. A goal is where you want to go.
Okay.
The system is how you get there.
So it's not just about like wanting to write a novel.
Right.
It's about having a daily writing routine.
Exactly. It's the process.
Okay. So you're saying like focus on the process.
Yeah, focus on the actions you take every day.
Got it. So I guess the question is, how do we actually change our habits then?
Well, first we got to understand how they form.
Okay.
Right.
Lay it on me.
It's all about this thing called the habit loop.
Habit loop, is that like a cycle or something?
Yeah, totally. It's like a 4-stage process.
All ears.
It's like cue, craving, response, and reward.
Okay, give me an example.
So let's say you're, at work and you start feeling bored.
Happens to the best of us.
Right. So that boredom, that's your cue. And then
yeah.
you crave like a distraction.
I feel that.
So you grab your phone, scroll through social media.
Oh, there it is.
That's your response.
The classic response. I know it well.
And then you get that little hit of dopamine, a little reward.
Yeah, the reward that keeps us coming back for more.
Exactly. And that's how the habit loop keeps going.
It's like this sneaky cycle.
Totally. But the good news is, once you understand it, you can start to hack it.
Oh, hack it. I like the sound of that.
And that's where Clear's 4 laws of behavior change come in.
Okay, now we're talking. Give me those laws.
All right. Law number 1, make it obvious.
Okay, make it obvious. I like it. Simple, but powerful.
Right. You got to be aware of the habits you already have.
Even the bad ones.
Especially the bad ones.
Okay, good point. So
Yeah.
how do we do that? Like, become aware.
Clear suggests making a habit scorecard.
A habit scorecard. Interesting.
Basically, you just write down everything you do in a day.
Like all of it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you mark it as positive, negative, or neutral.
It's like taking inventory of your habits.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you really aware of what's going on.
I like that. It's like that quote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I think it was Carl Jung.
Deep stuff.
Deep, right. But so you've got your habit scorecard.
Yeah.
Now what? How do you like create new, better habits?
You got to make a plan.
Of course, a plan makes sense.
Cleary calls it an implementation intention.
Okay, implementation intention. Sounds fancy.
It's actually pretty simple.
Okay, break it down for me.
It's basically saying, I will behave here at time in location.
So instead of saying, I'll meditate more,
Right, which is vague.
you'd say, I will meditate for 10 minutes at 7 a.m. in my living room.
Boom.
There you go.
Okay, I say much more specific.
Exactly. Takes the guesswork out of it. So you're setting yourself up for success.
Precisely.
Love it. Anything else that can help make those good habits stick?
Oh, there's this thing called habit stacking.
Habit stacking? Okay, I've heard of that.
It's super effective.
How does it work?
You basically link a new habit to an existing one.
I get it. So like after I brush my teeth, I'll do 10 push-ups.
Exactly.
Smart. Okay, so make it obvious. Check. What's the next law?
Law number 2 is make it attractive.
Attractive? That's interesting. You mean like make it fun?
Kind of, yeah. It's
Yeah.
about tapping into that dopamine.
The dopamine.
Wow.
Our brain's best friend and worst enemy.
Right. It's all about the reward.
So how do we like make a habit more rewarding?
Well, there's this cool technique called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Okay, that sounds intriguing.
It's basically pairing something you need to do with something you actually enjoy.
Oh, I see. So like only letting myself watch my favorite show while I'm on the treadmill.
There you go.
Okay, that's actually pretty clever.
Right. Makes the not so fun stuff a bit more bearable.
I like it. But like sometimes it's not about external rewards, right?
Sure.
Sometimes it's about like changing how we think about the habit itself.
Exactly. It's about finding the inherent rewards.
Yeah, like instead of dreading exercise,
Yeah.
you focus on how good it feels to move your body, the energy it gives you.
Right. You reframe it.
And I think it's also important to like consider our environment.
Oh, for sure.
Like if you want to read more, join a book club.
Surround yourself with readers.
Exactly. Surround yourself with people who already have the habits you want.
It's all about creating that culture of good habits.
Yeah, make it the norm. So we've made it obvious. We've made it attractive.
What's next?
Hit me with law number 3.
All right. Law number 3. Make it easy.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I'm all about easy.
Right. Who isn't? The easier it is to do something, the more likely you are to actually do it.
Makes sense. But how do we make a habit easy?
It's all about reducing friction.
Friction? Okay. So like making it as seamless as possible.
Exactly. And the key is repetition.
Repetition, right.
Yeah.
Like the more you do something,
The easier it becomes.
it becomes automatic, like second nature.
Exactly. But there's this myth out there about how long it takes to form a habit.
Oh, yeah. The whole 21 days thing.
Right. But that's not really accurate.
Oh, really?
Clear says it's not about time, it's about the number of repetitions.
Interesting. So it's more about consistency than a specific time frame.
Exactly. And one of his coolest strategies for making a habit easy is the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule. I heard good things.
It's amazing.
So what is it?
You break down any habit into a 2-minute version.
Give me an example.
Let's say you want to start working out. Instead of aiming for a 30-minute workout,
Yeah,
you just focus on putting on your workout clothes.
really. That's it.
Yep, for 2 minutes.
Wow, okay. That is easy.
Right. You lower the barrier to entry.
So it's like tricking yourself into getting started.
Kind of, yeah. And often, once you start, you just keep going.
It's that initial push that's the hardest.
Exactly. And then there's priming your environment.
Oh, yeah, like setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. Like laying out your workout clothes the night before.
Or like prepping healthy meals in advance.
You got it. Make it as easy as possible to choose the good habit.
This is all making so much sense.
And don't forget about increasing friction for bad habits.
Oh, yeah. Like hiding the junk food.
Yes, or putting your phone in another room.
So you're not tempted.
Exactly. Make those bad habits harder to do.
Okay, so we've got make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy.
What's left?
The grand finale. Law number 4, let's hear it.
Law number 4 is make it satisfying.
Make it satisfying. Oh, that's a good one. We all love that feeling of satisfaction.
Right. And that's how you close the habit loop.
It's like the reward at the end.
Exactly. It makes you want to repeat the habit.
But, you know, sometimes the rewards are delayed.
True.
Like with good habits, the payoff isn't always immediate.
You got to play the long game.
Right. But how do we stay motivated in the meantime?
Well, remember the marshmallow experiment?
Oh, yeah, the classic test of delayed gratification.
Kids who could wait for the second marshmallow ended up with better outcomes later on.
So it's about being patient and trusting the process.
Exactly. And there are things you can do to make those good habits feel more rewarding in the short term.
Like what? Give me some tips.
Habit trackers are great.
Ah, yeah. Like checking off boxes on a calendar.
Exactly. It gives you that sense of progress.
I love a good visual reminder.
And don't forget to celebrate those small wins.
Oh, yeah. Celebrate even the little victories.
It keeps the momentum going.
So we've got our 4 laws for building good habits.
Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
But what about breaking bad habits?
It's the same principles, just in reverse.
Ah, I see. Make them unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
You got it.
We talked about increasing friction, making them harder to do.
Yeah.
What else? Any other tricks up your sleeve?
Accountability is huge.
Oh, yeah. Having someone to keep you on track.
Exactly. Find an accountability partner.
Or like make a habit contract.
Yeah.
Make it official.
I like that. Wow, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
There's so much more to explore in Atomic Habits.
And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to see how these principles play out in real life.
Oh, yeah. We'll be diving into the Escaping Ordinary host's personal habit transformation story.
He shares all the nitty-gritty details of how he applied these concepts.
It's like getting a behind-the-scenes look.
Exactly. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll see how it all comes together.
Can't wait to hear all about it.
Welcome back. So we've talked about the theory behind atomic habits.
All those laws and stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff. But, it's one thing to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's another to actually see it in action.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's where the escaping ordinary guy comes in.
Right. He actually walks us through his own habit transformation.
Yeah, he shares his whole system, which is super helpful because it's like, okay, here's how you actually do it.
It's like a real world example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he tackles some pretty common habits, like working out.
Yeah, the workout struggle is real.
Tell me about it. But he shows how he used those 4 laws to make it happen.
Okay, so let's start with the workouts. He used to have trouble being consistent, right?
Big time. But then he started using that implementation intention formula.
The I will behavior at time and location thing.
Yep, that's the one. So he said, I will work out at 6 a.m. in the living room.
No more excuses.
Exactly. He made it super specific.
And he also talked about making it easier, right? Like minimizing friction.
Oh, yeah. He was all about that. He took his dumbbells out of the closet,
Smart.
put them right in the living room where he couldn't miss them.
It's like setting yourself up for success.
Right. And he put up pictures of like fit people on his walls.
Oh, wow. Like for inspiration.
Yeah.
Visual reminders of his goals.
I love that idea. But okay, we all have those days where motivation is 0.
Yeah, we're human. So what did he do when he just didn't feel like working out?
He made it more attractive.
Ah, okay, how?
He started listening to his favorite podcasts while he worked out.
Ah, that's good. Temptation bundling in action.
Exactly. And he also changed his mindset about it.
Instead of, I have to work out.
He'd say, I get to build strength.
It's like a mental shift.
Totally. Makes a big difference.
So he had the cue, the craving,
Mm-hmm.
but did he just jump into like a crazy workout routine right away?
Nope. He used the 2-minute rule.
Ah, the 2-minute rule. Such a game changer.
Right. So at first, he just focused on putting on his workout clothes.
And stretching.
Yeah, for 2 minutes.
That's it.
That's all it took to get started.
Amazing how such a small step can lead to big results.
Totally. And then he talked about priming his environment.
Like setting things up the night before.
Yep. Laying out his shoes, his yoga mat, everything.
So when he woke up, it was all ready to go.
No excuses.
So smart. Okay, cue, craving, response.
What about the reward?
Yeah, how do you make sure he'd keep coming back for more?
He used a habit tracker.
The good old habit tracker.
He'd cross off each day on a calendar after his workout.
Satisfying, right?
Yeah.
Seeing that visual progress.
Totally. And he also had an accountability partner.
Oh, his partner.
Yeah, he'd send her a photo of his calorie burn after each workout.
So extra motivation.
Exactly.
It's amazing how he incorporated all these different strategies.
Yeah, he really put it all together.
And throughout it all, he kept saying focus on the system.
Not the goals.
Right, build that solid foundation.
And the results will follow.
It's all about those small, consistent efforts.
Exactly. All right, so that's the workout routine.
Okay, what about his reading habit? He wanted to read more, right?
Yeah, he was all about books. And he used a similar process.
But with some, unique twists.
Oh, yeah. For example, he used habit stacking.
Ah, habit stacking. We love that.
Right. So he linked reading to his morning coffee routine.
So after he made his coffee.
He'd spend 90 minutes reading.
Wow, 90 minutes. That's impressive.
Right. But he didn't start there.
Of course not. Baby steps.
Exactly. He started with just 1 page.
1 page. Of what?
The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that book.
It's a good one. And then he gradually increased it.
So from 1 page to 90 minutes.
It's all about those small increments.
I love that. It's so doable.
Right. Anyone can read 1 page.
Exactly. So he stacked the habit.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else he did?
He had this rule about 1 space, 1 use.
What does that mean?
So he would only read on his apartment balcony.
Oh, interesting. So creating a designated space for reading.
Exactly. It helped him focus.
I get it. No distraction.
Right. And then there's the social media habit.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It is. But he was determined to curb his social media use.
So how did he do it?
First, he made it invisible.
Invisible. Deleted the app.
Yeah. Got rid of a bunch of them from his phone.
That's a bold move.
It was. But it helped reduce temptation.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And he also, changed his thinking about social media.
Oh, how so?
He focused on the negative aspects.
How it can be a time suck.
Exactly. And he also started leaving his phone in a drawer while he was working.
Oh, wow. Physically removing it from his environment?
Yep. Made it harder to access.
And did he have an accountability partner for this one, too?
Oh, yeah. His partner was involved in this one too.
How so?
If she caught him using social media during work hours,
Uh-oh.
he had to pay her money.
Oh, wow. That's serious motivation.
It worked, though.
It's amazing how we use those same principles, but in different ways.
Yeah, he really adapted them to fit each habit.
It shows, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Totally. You got to find what works for you.
And his story is super inspiring.
It is. It shows that you can change any habit,
Even the really tough ones.
as long as you have the right strategies.
And the right mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've seen how these principles play out in real life.
It's really cool to see it all come together.
Yeah, it is. But there's even more to explore.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, in the next part, we're going to dive even deeper.
Ooh, deeper. I like it.
We're going to talk about the role of identity
Identity. Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
and how our beliefs about ourselves shape our habits.
That sounds fascinating.
It is. So stay tuned for part 3, where we'll connect all the dots.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive. It's amazing to think that, something as simple as habits can be so connected to our identity.
Yeah, right. It's not just about doing the dishes or going for a run.
It's deeper than that.
Those are just the actions you see on the surface.
It's really about who we are at our core.
Exactly. Our habits are a reflection of our current identity.
I never thought about it like that before.
It's like if you see yourself as someone who's lazy,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to have habits that reinforce that belief.
But if you want to change those habits,
And you got to start by changing how you see yourself.
it's an inside-out kind of thing.
Exactly. And James Clear, he talks about this.
Oh, yeah. What does he say?
He says, the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Right. It's not about the action itself. It's about the kind of person you want to be.
So it's like, I don't just want to run a marathon. I want to be a runner.
Exactly. Embody that identity.
And once you start thinking that way, it's
Yeah.
like those new habits become part of who you are.
Right. They're not just things you force yourself to do.
They're an expression of your true self.
Exactly. It's like every time you follow through on a new habit,
Yeah.
you're casting a vote for the person you want to become.
Oh, I like that. The vote analogy.
Right. Those votes add up over time.
And eventually they change your identity.
Exactly. But of course, change is not always easy.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Okay.
There are going to be setbacks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We all hit those plateaus, those moments where we slip up.
So what do we do when that happens? How do we stay on track?
First of all, remember, setbacks are normal.
Oh, yeah, we're human. We're not perfect.
Exactly. It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
It's like learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall a few times.
Exactly. But you get back up and you keep going.
And each time you fall, you learn something.
Right. You get a little bit better, a little bit stronger.
And that's how we grow.
Exactly. And Clear talks about this thing called the Valley of Disappointment.
Oh, the Valley of Disappointment? That sounds a little ominous.
It's basically that period where you're putting in the work, but you're not seeing the results yet.
Yeah, I've been there. It's tough.
It is, but it's important to remember that the most powerful outcomes, they often take time.
Ah, the delayed gratification thing again.
Exactly. Just stick with it. Trust the process.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True, but that's where those small wins come in.
Right. Celebrate those little victories along the way.
Exactly. It keeps you motivated,
And it's a good reminder that we're making progress.
even if it's not always visible.
Okay, so, final thoughts. What do you want our listeners to take away from all this?
I'd say, remember this. You have the power to change.
You have the power to shape your habits.
Exactly. And your habits shape your life.
It all starts with those small atomic changes.
Be consistent. Be patient.
And trust the process.
Exactly. Oh, and don't forget about identity.
Right. Become the person you want to be.
Act like them, even if it feels a little fake at first.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly. And those actions will eventually become your reality.
This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us.
Of course. My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, we hope this has inspired you to start building those atomic habits.
Keep learning. Keep growing.
And keep striving to become the best version of yourselves.
Absolutely. Until next time.
See you later.